Hey y'all, Infinite Enzo here from Nox Knife Mods, and today we are talking about 5 forgotten favorites from my knife collection. Let's get into it. Alright y'all, this is my knife box here. This thing is a beastly box here. What we're going to do is we're going to dive into this. I'm going to pull out 5 folders, 5 modern folders that have been in my collection a long time. I've started this collection about 10 years ago probably, maybe a little bit longer than that, maybe more like 12. In any case, I've got a lot of oldies but greaties in here. And we're also going to have one honorable mention fixed blade and one honorable mention slip joint. So I stole this theme, this idea of 5 forgotten favorites from Metal Complex. So if you haven't seen his video, I'd recommend it because of course he's got some crazy stuff that's really cool and really rare. For me, I've had just so many great knives over the years, and you know, you tend to fall in this pattern where when you pick up something new, you want to carry the latest and greatest, you know. But these ones are some that I still carry a lot and I just don't talk about it as much. Now, if you follow me on Instagram at Nox Knife Mods, you've probably seen me post these like a few times, maybe recently as well, because I have been carrying some of this recently. But I haven't had a YouTube video on any of these in a long time. So that's what we're doing. So let's get into this thing, man. Oh yeah. Before we get started, the bourbon tonight is Evan Williams Bottled and Bond. Excellent stuff. Oh yeah. Oh god, that's got to be the best affordable bourbon out there. About 17 bucks for a fifth, and it is excellent. It punches so far above its pay grade, it's ridiculous. And the knife that I carried today was the TRM Atom in Merlot Micarta. Absolutely love this. This is my second Atom, and I was so glad to get an Atom back in the collection. And the slip joint for today was the Rough Rider Reserve Whiskey Rider. I did a video on this recently. You can click this link maybe. I don't know. There might be a pop-up here if you want to go watch it. If not, just go to our YouTube channel and just look at our most recent video. It was the last video I put up. Wonderful slip joint. Big boy, but it's a good one. Okay, so let's dive into the topic at hand here. This is a mess, I know. All of my more affordable stuff is in this top area. All of my more pricey stuff is in this little bottom area. So let me get this out of the way because none of the knives I'm picking today are from this top shelf. Okay, here's what we got. Let's start off with the fixed blade first. So this is a fixed blade that I got, gosh man, probably 2 or 3 years ago. This is a Bark River Bravo Century. So it's based off the very famous Bark River Bravo design, but the Century is a much smaller form factor. I really love the size of this thing. It would make an excellent neck knife if you could like go maybe get a Kydex custom sheath made for it. It would be perfect. But I just enjoy carrying it on my belt in this awesome little sheath. It's very compact and it fits perfectly in there. And I just love the rustic quality of a leather sheath like this. Just really has that sort of, not bushcraft, but you know what I mean, that sort of outdoorsy kind of vibe to it. I love the white G10 on here. It's a beautiful G10 pattern on there. Almost looks like polished micarta. No liners on this one. Sometimes these Bark Rivers will have some cool colored liners, but it does have mosaic pins. Blade steel on this one is CPM 154, one of my all-time favorite steels. Absolutely love it. And it's got that Bark River convex grind. Yeah, just an awesome little fixed blade knife that I still carry around a ton. So that was our fixed blade honorable mention. I'll set that right over here, kind of by the bourbon glass maybe. And then let's get the slip joint out of the way as well. This is a fun one that I shot a video on it and then never talked about it again, but I do carry it occasionally, and that is the K-Bar Dog's Head Plowman's Jack. Very cool jackknife here. It's got a large clip point main with a mirror polish. No wobble on this thing, and it's from like 1980, so I'm pretty impressed with it. The calling card, though, of this is the Dog's Head shield that K-Bar uses. This is the Angry Dog. There is a more like mellow dog, too, that you'll see on some of these old K-Bars. The walk and talk is unbelievably good. A secondary blade is a pin blade. I've also seen this called an English jack, and I think a cigar knife I've heard it called as well. But if you guys know any other names for this particular pattern, and I'll get these blades out one more time so we can see everything at once. If any of y'all know any other names for this particular pattern, please let me know in the comment section below, because it's a really interesting pattern that you don't actually see super often. Nice big pattern too. So that was the Plowman's Jack from K-Bar. Now, on to the main event here. Let's talk about 5 of my favorite folders that have been more kind of forgotten on the YouTube channel. You don't see any videos about them unless it's like a talking video with me and Walsh where we're going over like collection stuff. First up, first one out the gate, I gotta talk about the Snex Buster, the Snex Buster. This is one of my all-time favorites, and I haven't talked about it in quite a while. I don't think since our video game and knives video that Walsh and I did, where we talked about crossovers between like gaming and knives and stuff. This knife, of course, is in design and name. It's very reminiscent of, maybe less so in design, but definitely in name and like kind of the form factor. It's reminiscent of the Buster sword from Final Fantasy VII, and that's what really drew me to it. But also the Fusion sword, is it called? I can't remember. It's another one from Final Fantasy VII. But just super attractive titanium flipper frame lock here. Designed, of course, by Snex. And it's only got really two active screws throughout the whole like body of it. You've got the pivot screw and this body screw here. This one's just for the clip, and there's a stop pin right here. And that's pretty much the whole assembly. So it takes apart very well, reassembles very well, and it's got just a stunning action. It also has a, what's the word I'm looking for? A unique, that's not the right word, but proprietary, there we go. It's got a proprietary detent system designed by Snex. Nothing crazy, but it is really well thought out, involving this pin right here. And I can't remember the advantages of that. He had designed it a very specific way. I think, oh yeah, now I remember. If you look right there, you can see the detent there. So if you need to clean the detent, you don't have to take the knife apart. You can actually take like a Q-tip or whatever you want and swab the detent right there. So really cool design. It is a lighter detent, but it flips very nicely. And like I said a minute ago, action is just super smooth. Phenomenal execution by for Snex. So put that right here. By the way, guys, anything you see in here that you're curious about, ask me about in the comments, and either I can direct you to a video or I'll be happy to just tell you about it. Number 2, we're going to do the Spyderco Spidey Chef. Now, a lot of these knives have been modded, so you know you'll see that here. If you have questions about the mods, I'm happy to answer that as well. This is my armor piercer mod. The video is not up on this, but it will be soon. But yeah, so the Spyderco Spidey Chef was the first takedown talk video that I did, where I got into the innards and the design of the Spidey Chef, and why Marcin Swish or Sleesh, I don't know how to pronounce his last name, why he really knocked it out of the park with this design. Obviously, I've gone and modified the ever-loving heck out of it. So what we got going on here is LC200 blade. Oh, by the way, blade steel on this mini Buster is 20 CV. So just the typical stuff from Wii. They do like their 20 CV. So LC200 on this blade, which is highly corrosion resistant and is now being used in the Salt series a little bit. I stonewashed the scales here, the titanium scales, and then did a Scotch-Brite finish afterward, which I really love the look. If you do a stonewash on titanium, try doing that Scotch-Brite finish afterward, because it looks so good. I love the look of it. The hardware is from, I believe, from Blades We Love. So bronze hardware throughout. Pocket clip is from Rip's Garage Tech, a 3D milled pocket clip. Really love that. And yeah, the Spidey Chef has a pretty interesting blade shape where it's got a tip here, but then it swoops up and then comes back down. It's got like this big hump at the top. And I've had a love-hate relationship with that hump for a while. And so I finally decided to kind of grind that down and make a more like pronounced flat spine. So we've got 2 stages here. We've got a flat spine up here and then a very slight angle down. But I love the look of it. I'm really falling in love with it. And so because of that aggressive tip, I've decided to call this one the Armor Piercer. And it's also kind of a callback in design, or not design, in the blade shape and stuff to some of the weapons from Final Fantasy 16. Big fan of that game. So yeah, that's the Spyderco Spidey Chef armor piercer. Let's see if there's anything I haven't covered. Yeah, just an awesome titanium frame lock. Once again, there's going to be a few titanium frame locks here. Up next, let's change pace a bit. This is the Cold Steel 8015. I haven't talked about this one as much lately because I am a fan of the 8010 a bit more than the 15. I have two 8010s now, one that's fully modded out, and then another that is basically factory. I changed the pocket clip, but that's about it. And that was one of the titanium ones from Blade Show. So those have kind of taken more of the spotlight from my 15, but I really love this 15 a lot too. This one is the Gigas mod, named after, again, everything comes back to Final Fantasy. It's named after an enemy type in that game. So what we have here is a canvas micarta scales on both sides. These are from Slashy Tones on Instagram. I don't think he's selling these anymore, unfortunately. And Scale Garden was the name of the website that he built to sell these. He's a big 8015 fan, and but unfortunately, I don't think he's selling these anymore. Blade steel on this one is S35VN, and of course you have the just wonderful Dimco design here, the awesome Scorpion lock, which I wish Dimco would do more stuff with. He really did it on the 15 and then nothing else. Meanwhile, the Shark Lock just like owns everything he does, which Shark Lock is fine, but I really love the design of the Scorpion lock. It's just cool, man. It just looks really cool. Mod-wise, I acid washed the blade, did this texturized kind of pattern on the flats on both sides. Still really pleased with how that came out. The micarta scales, of course, acid washed the pocket clip. And yeah, and then I had this really cool lanyard stone that I got from nux.nomada on Instagram, nux.nomada. This is a brass, what would you call this thing? It's just kind of a, not a shillelagh, but you know what I mean, kind of a brass, you know, you get my point. It's something you can whack things with. So there you go. The full-size ones are much larger than this. This is like a mini. So yeah, I use it like a lanyard. I thought it really fit the design of the, or well, it fit the mod of the knife. So yeah, big fan of Andrew Dimco. 15 is one of my favorite designs from him, and yeah, it's not been getting a lot of carry lately. So I thought I'd highlight it in this video. Awesome blade. Up next, gosh, we're already on number 4 here. This, y'all know this one. Come on, man. It's the ZT-0562. The knife that you should get if you want a Hinder XM18. No, I'm just joking. I haven't handled any of the newer XM18s. I did handle older ones, and I always felt like the ZT was the better purchase. In Metal Complex's video on the same topic, he actually does discuss that, and he's very fervent in his opinion that modern XM18s are definitely leagues better than the ZT. But I don't know, man. I really love this knife. I really love the action on it. Still, man, it's crazy. The pattern, this design has been around so long now, and it's still so good. So again, obviously modded. I was really going for XM18 vibes with this. Obviously it still has the ZT kind of pattern to it. But yeah, it's as close as we'll get to the XM18 in a production knife. So we've got this JG10, which again, y'all may have heard me say if you followed the channel for a while, I'm not a big JG10 fan, but it works here for me. I think it's in combination with the bronze hardware, it just looks really good to me. JG10 scale is from Suingab, that's S-U-I-N-G-A-B. Beautiful scale, beautiful texture on this. I really love this kind of sun ray texture that it has. Hardware, this pivot screw is from MXG, and the body screws in Torx here, which is why I wanted these. These are from Blades We Love. So yeah, kind of silly to have a different driver on the body screws and the pivot, but I love the flathead pivots that Hinderers typically come with, but I prefer Torx for body screws. It's just a weird thing for me. The pin I put in myself, this is a brass pin, so I replaced the stop bar with this flat brass bar, just to match the color tones of everything else. I do think the bronze, brass, gold colors kind of really go well with the JG10. Acid wash was by me, of course, and also the patterning on the flats and some kind of character kind of bites up here to just get some, give the blade some character. This is an LMAX steel. I originally had this knife in 20 CV, but I bought a used LMAX one for cheap on the secondary. Right there you can see the Knox Knife Mods Maker's Mark. So, if you ever get a hold of something like this, that's how you know it was modded by me or Walsh. The titanium side's pretty much the same. I do have the lock bar stabilizer in bronze, as well as the lock bar interface is the screw for that's in bronze. And also I acid washed I sanded the clip, acid washed it so it matches the color tone a little bit better. So yeah, love this thing. This is the Tiamat mod. Again, Final Fantasy reference. It's a dragon from that series, and also it's a mythical monster, so there's a couple different routes there. Yeah, I love this thing. This is one of the ones that I don't talk about a lot, but I've been carrying a lot lately. Love this thing. All right, guys, last one. Let's see. Where is it? Where are you? You're here somewhere. Oh, you're right in front of me. It's the Benchmade Freak. Now, this thing was just the bee's knees in like, what was it, like 2017, 2018? I can't quite remember. And for me, well, there you go. It represents everything I love and hate about Benchmade in one knife. I think this is the only Benchmade I own right now. So what do I mean when I say that? The design is awesome. I think this is a beautiful design, super attractive. Seems like there was some connection with Ritter a bit, but he had already split at that, like when this knife came out. Maybe he'd been in the initial planning for this thing. But it's a beautiful blade profile. It's very classic. I love that nice drop point. The G10 scales on it are really nicely textured, and they're kind of radiused, so it fills out the hand really well. I have smaller size hands, but I have fat fingers, so I really like large size knives because of the fatness of my hands. The axis lock on this is fine. So here's the thing like about Benchmade. I get this knife and I fire it and it feels pretty good. It's off center, but I don't really care about centering too much. I kind of expect off center from Benchmade. But I noticed, I go to check the lock and there's lock rock. And I'm like, are you kidding me, man? And at the time I was like, yeah, I think I can live with it, it's fine. Oh, I also acid washed and put on a different clip. Typically this comes with a split arrow clip. I put on just a classic Benchmade text clip. Anyway, back to the subject here. So in order to try to figure this out, I took the knife apart and found out that one of the phosphor bronze washers had a large burr on it. And it's like, dude, how does this escape the factory, you know? So I just fixed it myself. I took the washers and just kind of sanded them down and then polished them. And now it's super nice. I've been firing, here, I'll show it to you. Where is it at? Been firing this bad boy quite a lot. This is the Kaiser Escort with their version of the axis lock, the clutch lock. Now this one's on bearings, so this almost isn't fair, but the action on this is, oh my God, it's just nuts. But I prefer washers over bearings anyway. So with the axis lock on the Benchmade, you do have to give it more of a suggestion to close, but it still works great, especially when you polish those washers like I have. So anyways, that's the Benchmade Freak, man, the Super Freak, I should say. Blade steel on this one is M4, and it's held up really well. It's got some stains on it from stuff that I've cut, but that's no chips or anything like that, just some stains on the edge. Yeah, nice and sharp right now too. So yeah, these are my 5 forgotten favorites, guys. I know this video is really kind of random and all over the place, but I hope you enjoyed it. This is a one-shot. I lost track of time here, and so I needed to get a video up. And Walsh has been on a business trip, so he hasn't, he's been working. So I thought, you know what, I'll kind of steal an idea from Metal Complex here and do a forgotten favorites. I love the topic. I think it's a cool idea. So guys, please let me know, what are your forgotten favorites in your collection? Please throw them down in the comments. I'd love to hear about them, love to read about them. If you have a channel, please point me to the video because I'd love to watch it. So just to recap one more time here, make sure everything's in the frame. Got the K-Bar, Dog's Head, Plowman's Jack, the Snex Buster, Spyderco Spidey Chef, Armor Piercer mod, Cold Steel 8015 Gigas mod, the, eventually I start forgetting words, the ZT0562 in LMAX, the Tiamat mod, Benchmade Super Freak in M4, and the Bark River Bravo Century, CPM 154 on that one. Guys, thank you so much for joining. I hope you enjoyed this knife talk, and yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Probably will be Walsh in the next one. We haven't heard from him in a bit, so hopefully he's got some cool knife stuff he can talk about. Till then, guys, stay well. Peace.